As Joyce said, my name is Sarah Stein. I am a professor at Arkansas Tech, although I speak for myself today. I thank you for being here today. I was honored to be invited, and I have just a few words I would like to say about the Holocaust and the importance of marking and remembering it. We are here today for a solemn and honorable purpose, to remember the Holocaust and to say never again. We are here to speak for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the millions of voices forever silenced by the hateful genocide perpetrated by the Nazis. I am here because when good people do not remember their history and do not speak out against hate, against anti-Semitism, against xenophobia, history can and will repeat itself. My great-grandparents and their siblings came to this country in the early 1900s, driven by an earlier and often forgotten wave of anti-Semitism that swept across Russia and Ukraine. The Nazis, after all, did not invent anti-Semitism or the violence that follows from it. My family fled pogroms in a tiny town in Ukraine that left the head of the school teacher on the porch of my great-grandma. I remember my great-great-uncle Saul telling me about it as a child. Although they came with nothing, here they found education, prosperity, and hope. Years later, they learned what had happened to the family and friends they left behind in that little town in Ukraine. They died in the Holocaust, shot in mass graves, slaughtered in camps, and a few miraculously survived. My father recounts memories of his childhood, a cousin who had lain all day in a pit of dead bodies of her townspeople, and then crawled out at night, running to hide in the woods, eventually making it all the way to Argentina with the help of the righteous. Visited his grandmother, and they wept over each other. They had not met since they were little girls. A family friend reconnected with in Israel, who invited them into her home, served him ruby red pomegranate seeds in a small glass dish, and had a tattoo on her forearm from the concentration camp where she had survived but lost all her family. It is easier, I know, to turn away from stories like this, but we cannot do so. We must acknowledge the truth. The Holocaust happened, and we must educate ourselves and others so that something like it will not happen again. As terrible as it is when people do not mark the Holocaust or turn away from the responsibility of witnessing it, a greater evil exists in our world, and that is those who would deny it altogether. Holocaust denial takes many forms, from those who say outright that it did not occur, to those who will try to debate what is historical fact, putting given truth into question as if this historical event, the most well-documented genocide in history, were up for debate, to those who question the number of 6 million Jews murdered in order to begin eating away at the fact of the event from the edges, to those who claim that the concentration camps were merely political prisons and not the death camps of a genocidal final solution. In all its forms, Holocaust denial is a type of misinformation that we must not permit to enter our regular discourse, our classrooms, our universities. It has recently come to light that a scholarship at Arkansas Tech University has been named after a professor who taught at Tech, where I also teach, and who promoted anti-Semitism and Holocaust denial in his writings and in his classroom. I have looked at the evidence. I have spoken to his former colleagues and students, and I can tell you that Dr. Michael Link was a Holocaust denier. In 2019, with anti-Semitism reaching historic levels in the United States over the last 2 years, with white supremacists actively targeting Jews, and the most deadly attack on Jewish people seen in this country less than a year ago in Pittsburgh, we cannot afford to honor someone who trafficked in the hate-filled lies of Holocaust denial. We must stand up at every turn and say no to all forms of anti-Semitism. I am so proud of our students who protested the scholarship named after Dr. Link earlier this week, and of my colleagues on the Faculty Senate who voted unanimously on Wednesday to ask that President Bowen approach the executors of Dr. Link's estate to have his name removed from the scholarship. Those students and professors are doing what is right and standing up against anti-Semitism. And we must gather, as we do today, to honor and remember the history of the Holocaust, the fact of this atrocity, so that we can stand up together as a community and say, never forgotten, never again.